Over the past few days, Trinidad and Tobago has been caught in the middle of a serious national debate, one that mixes national security, foreign military involvement, drugs, politics, and trust. It started with an announcement where the US military installed a radar system in Tobago, and shortly after that, the government said that this radar system played a leading role in helping discover a multi-million-dollar drug bust. But not too long after, the social media vlogger known as Rambles came out with a video, and then another, calling out what he described as hypocrisy, misinformation, and lies. In the second video though, Rambles raised a far more serious question.
Was any drugs found in the first place? Or did you all put it there to give the radar props? Because now we already caught you all in a lie that spans the globe, because news agencies around the globe calling you all out on a lie. Is everything else a lie?
No, that's a heavy statement. And before anybody jump to conclusions, this video is not here to accuse anybody of planting drugs or anything of the sort. This video is about facts, the science behind how the radar does actually work, and public accountability. Now when it comes to Rambles, you could hate him or you could love him, but a simple Google search will tell us something very important. Since Rambles dropped those two videos, opinions have been split in Trinidad. Some people on one side saying that he is just a PNM activist. His only goal is to try to make the government look bad, or that he's fear-mongering and politicizing national security. While on the other side, people are accusing the government of lying to the population, saying that this radar issue that they bring up don't make technical sense at all, and something with this entire drug bust feels somewhat staged or exaggerated. But here's the problem with both sides of the story and opinions that people taking, right? This has nothing to do with politics. When it comes down to finding out what actually going on, all it requires is a simple Google search that anybody could do. And as we on the topic, let me talk about it one time. What kind of radar did the US install in Tobago? Well, lo and behold, was an air surveillance radar. Its job is to literally track aircrafts, monitor drones, watch airspace, and assist with aerial interference. This is not speculation. This is how these radar systems were designed by the companies who build them and the purpose that they were made for. Now, here's the key point, and this is something that Rambles did bring up in his videos. These radar systems work on a line of sight. They send radio waves or radio signals to a straight path, a straight line. These radio signals or radio waves cannot bend around mountains or over terrain. They cannot scan inland, ground level targets hidden by geography, hidden by land masses. And this is not my opinion or Ramble's opinion. This is the science behind how these radar systems are actually made and how they function. That was the physics behind it, right? Let me now talk about the geography, because that plays a major role in the story that they're telling us. The radar is in Tobago. The alleged detection happened in the Caroni Swamp in Trinidad, which is in west central Trinidad. It is low-lying, it is inland, and surrounded by mangroves. And if that wasn't enough interference already, between Tobago and the Caroni Swamp, we have the northern range blocking it. A mountain range climbing hundreds of meters above sea level. That mountain range completely blocks the line of sight, meaning that the radar in Tobago cannot detect a vessel carrying drugs on the water in the Caroni Swamp. Basically, let me show you how it works. Where you are is where the drugs was found. Where I am is where the radar system is in Tobago. This is the mountain range. My line of sight, this is the radar line of sight. You see, my eyes are looking at you straight here. This is the mountain range. There's no way that radar system could see. Alright? And we're not talking about just the drug boat. We're talking about anything at that ground level. Anything, you understand? So when the Minister of Homeland Security and the top cops say that the radar was responsible for locating and helping in the seizure and capture of these drugs, that explanation don't really align with reality, with how things really operate in. Let me be fair. Let me play devil's advocate here, right? Let me just say that the Prime Minister made those statements because she took the advice of the people that she relied on for having factual information on these kind of topics. Let me just say the Prime Minister don't know about radar systems. I didn't know about radar systems until I Googled it. That is not something that the layman or the civilian understands. We're playing devil's advocate here, right? So let me say that the Prime Minister did not understand that. Isn't that why the Minister of Homeland Security and the top cop holds the positions that they hold? Because they in fact would have had to have experience with these radar systems, with all military functions. So they're supposed to know, both of them, how these things function and operate, and know that there's no way that a radar system in Tobago could find a line of sight to find a boat in the Caroni Swamp. So now that leaves you with two possible explanations for that situation. The first one is incompetence. The Minister of Homeland Security and the top cop, they either misunderstood the radar system, they failed to properly brief the Prime Minister, they didn't explain to her properly what was going on, or they repeated a claim that somebody tell them without first verifying it. That is the first option, right? Or option two, and this is what Rambo's getting at, deception. And this one worse than the first one, because that implies that the top officials knew that this radar system couldn't track this boat in the Caroni Swamp, but they still credit the drug bust to this radar system publicly. And that will mean they do that to sell a narrative that the radar system working. They want to show that it functioning or something like that. If this is the case. Out of the two options, this option will mean that they intentionally misled the public. They intentionally lied to the public by saying this radar system in Tobago was responsible for finding a drug smuggling boat in the Caroni Swamp. Now, let me be clear about one thing, right? There's no evidence about drugs being planted. And what I mean by that, there's no evidence that anybody putting the drugs there and saying, hey, look, we find some drugs. Have no evidence of that. Nowhere. Ramble just raised the question based on the information and the facts that we're seeing floating around. Because I had that same question too. I was like, how? By us asking this question, is that a proven fact? Raising suspicion is not the same as proving wrongdoing. But here's another fair question to ask, right? If true, the science behind how the radar system was designed and operates, we know that the radar system is not responsible for finding these drugs, then something or somebody is not being given the credit for actually locating the drugs. Be it ground intelligence, informants, surveillance teams, tips from civilians, whatever, whoever it may be, who is responsible for helping find the drugs, because factually we know that this radar system in Tobago is not capable of doing that. Somebody not getting credit where credit is due. If that is the case. If that is the case, somebody responsible, or a team, or tips or something was responsible for helping locate and seize these drugs, why not credit it to the people or the systems actually responsible? Why try to attach that success to the radar system when you know that Google and ChatGPT is a thing? Anybody with half a brain cell could go on Google and ask ChatGPT how the radar system in Tobago does work. Because that's basically what I do. Anybody could do that. If that is the case, why not give the responsible parties their accolades? To give them, why are we trying to credit it to? I don't know. Thing is, really serious, right? This is not about the video that Rambo's make. Like I was saying, this is not about Rambles. This is not about UNC PNM politics thing. This is about the truth. This is about if we could actually trust the government that running the country right now. Because when officials exaggerate or misrepresent technical facts that are available to the entire country, to the entire world, people stop believing in them. Conspiracy fills the vacuum. National security loses all credibility. I mean, I don't think it had much in Trinidad in the first place, but God, boy. And ironically, the radar system, you really don't need to fake its success. Just give it time. It actually is still useful in tracking aircraft, drone systems, monitoring air routes, pretending that they could see through mountains when all the facts are available to anybody who actually want to look for them. That's a literal insult to the population of Trinidad and Tobago. So let me end this with some facts, right? The radar system is real. The drugs may be real, but the story that they give us surrounding this whole thing, it kind of iffy. It ain't based in fact. And when simple research disproves official statements, people are in the right to ask these kinds of questions. That don't mean somebody anti-government. That means they're trying to stay informed. Because in a democracy, accountability doesn't weaken the state. It strengthens it. Now, if you want transparency about how the government actually run in this country, go ahead and like this video. Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Let me know what you think about this whole radar story that they're trying to feed us right now. Do you believe them? Do you think it's the truth? And if you want more stories like this, make sure you subscribe to the channel. A lot of people watching not actually subscribe. So if you could do me a favor, like the video, leave your thoughts in the comments below, and go ahead and subscribe. For Them Follows Reviews, is Jeremy, and I will see everybody in the next one. Later.